Well, Steelers fans, I guess you can call that one a trap game. I thought for sure I was going to be able to get on here and, rain shame upon you for suggesting that this could be a trap game, an 8-2 team falling to a 2-8 team. How dare you suggest such a thing? When the elements started setting in at 10-3, it seemed like, the status quo was going to hold and the Steelers weren't going to be able to overcome the elements and the Browns. But they were able to come back, made it a game, made it interesting, were able to go up near the end there. Seemingly should have been able to be go up for good if they got a good punt out of Corliss Waitman on that last attempt. If they were able to flip the field there, I don't think the Browns were going to be able to drive it again. Gifting them that great field position is what turned that game. As far as coaching decisions go in this game, the fourth downs, the first one I didn't like. It seemed like chasing points after the missed field goal attempt. Going for it on fourth down there seemed like chasing those missed points, trying to recoup that. The second one I didn't hate, even though it ended up in the same result, failed conversion. But I didn't hate it because it seemed like they did have some momentum going at that point when they called that play. The third one that they did convert to Freiermuth, they needed at that point. So what are you going to say about that one? At one point, it looked like it wasn't just the Fields package. It looked like Russ had been legitimately benched for Fields, and Fields came in and was effective in the limited amount of snaps that he did get. Um, I think that's going to be the norm going forward with this team is a more equitable distribution of snaps. I understand people are going to be down on the Steelers team after losing to this Browns team. But, like they always say, those guys get paid too. Everyone's professionals. There's good guys on both sides. So, like I said in the special edition podcast that I put out earlier today, the wolf with one foot caught in the trap is the one that's most dangerous. The teams with nothing left to play for are the most dangerous because they throw everything out the window and they got nothing left to lose. So why not just go for it all the time and try a bunch of crazy stuff and just see what works out? So the Steelers tonight fell victim to a predator, not with its back up against the wall, but suffering from a terminal illness. This Browns team is dead walking. I thought that Dan Moore in general did a fairly good job on Myles Garrett. The play that Garrett got the forced fumble there was just a factor of his immense length, his ability to reach in there. I didn't think that Moore was beat terribly on that play, nor on the play that he gave up the prior sack to Garrett. And then the third sack to Garrett in the first half was on Zach Frazier. And I thought, the way that Frazier was completely overpowered by Myles Garrett kind of puts in perspective the challenge that Moore had, that Moore was going up against. Russell Wilson finished this game with 21 for 28 passing for 270 yards, almost 10 yards per attempt, touchdown, and 116 passer rating, despite those 4 sacks that he took. Although it wasn't great all around for Russell Wilson, he did end up salvaging himself, having a good day in obviously suboptimal conditions. He wasn't obviously able to have the Ben Roethlisberger-esque comeback at the end that we've come to expect from the Steelers offense, but um, that was obviously a tall task in the whiteout conditions there. I feel like we saw plenty of Justin Fields today, but he only attempted one pass. That one was incomplete. I don't remember off the top of my head what that was, but he did have 26 rushing yards on 3 attempts, including that big one when the Steelers needed to spark most, when they needed 2 scores that sparked them to get going there. Najee Harris never really got going on the rushing end of things. Jalen Warren did, although neither of them got to 50 rushing yards, but the team totaled 120 with those key contributions from Fields included there. On the receiving end of things, finally Calvin Austin getting himself involved, and Van Jefferson too. 2 big completions for Austin, including that nice touchdown on the post route there towards the end there. On the defensive side of things, Dante Jackson with both an interception and a fumble recovery. A couple nice bat downs from the defensive line. Hayward had one. Ogunjobi had one. They did a good job containing for the most part. But Winston able to extend plays and find guys. Lucky that the Steelers defense was lucky that they benefited from a couple drops from the Browns. It could have been a lot worse than it was. But Winston able to extend plays and find receivers downfield consistently. That was sure frustrating. George Pickens was frustrated as heck about something at the end of this game. Not sure what. I made a note earlier in this game that I was enthused that he was letting whatever Travarius Ward was jawing at him, and Pickens was just letting it roll off his back. So I was applauding him for that attitude that seemed to evaporate by the end of the game. Whatever he was livid about had to be wrestled by stadium security, it looked like. So I'll have to take another look at what happened there. There were a number of times in this game that Pickens was looking for a flag, begging for flags. Hayward also begging for holding flags on key plays in this game. And Cam Hayward, veteran of his stature, he never begs for flags. So if he's asking, you know something's going on. I'm as shell shocked as a lot of you guys are, so I'm not going to go too in depth in the play by play stuff. I'll try to pick out a couple specific plays to talk about on a Sky Cam segment later in the week. But for right now, all I can say is, I kind of warned you about this one, that these teams can be the most dangerous. But at the same time, don't get too down on it because this isn't a world-ending eventuality. The Ravens also lost to this Browns team. AFC matchups are always wonky. They're not necessarily a gauge on what your absolute talent as a team. I still have this team right now as a 12-5 record by the end of the year. There were no, not 12-5, as an 11-6. Yeah, 11-6. I have them going 3-3 from here on out. So I don't think the sky is falling. I still think this is a good team, a good defense specifically, and the offense has shown us some things now. And I think a more equitable distribution, like I said, of snaps among those quarterbacks is going to lead to a more varied offense that's going to be harder to prepare for. The way that the Steelers team wins games is as a front runner by controlling the game with your run game, with your defense, with your special teams, with turnovers, with statement style plays, with emphatic tackles for loss. That's the style of this team. That's the kind of ball this team needs to play. And they had a number of those plays tonight. Could have used one more. As tempting as it could be to put this one on the offense, because scoring less than 20 points against a 2-8 team. At the same time, you could say, "Wow, look at this great Steelers defense. Gave up more than 20 points to a 2-8 team." So, don't point the finger at either the offense or the defense. There's blame to share, and it does nobody any good to ignore the blame on either side to try to simplify it, to try to put this game into a box about this is a very simple, soundbite reason. 30 seconds, I can explain to you why this team lost. It's not that simple. It's going to take a lot longer to unpack, and they're not going to be able to do it tonight. I can't do it tonight. So I'm gonna sign off here, and Steelers Nation, we all got a lot of thinking to do. That's all I say. We're heading into Thanksgiving weekend. Let's count our blessings. Football isn't everything, and let's just try to keep our heads above water.